Hello, my front-end friends. I was recently on Blue Sky where I saw this post by Ana Tudor, who always does really awesome, cool CSS stuff, and it made me wonder, would I be able to recreate this exactly like she did? And it's kind of hard because it's transparent in the middle, and she said she only did it with one div, and I have not looked at her code yet, and I'm curious to see if I can figure out how to do that. So this video is going to be me experimenting and seeing if I can do it, and I know some parts of it are not going to be too bad, but we're starting off with this, and I guess we'll throw some text in there. So I'm a card with an inner glow, so let's just do that. We'll just do div with what am I doing? Let's just do a div and then say I'm a card with an inner glow, and we'll start with some. Whenever you don't know how to do something, start with the easy wins. So we'll start with the body here, and the very easy win parts will just be doing a display of grid, a place items of center, and a min block size of 100 VH, which should get that text right in the middle there. And we'll also throw a margin of 0 on there as well, because I'm getting, it's off screen a little bit for you, but I'm getting a scroll bar on there. This is going to go behind my head, so let's shrink myself down a little bit, and let's go with this div. We'll call it fancy glow, just so we're doing it on a class. And we can get rid of that div there, and let's come up here and say class equals fancy glow. And we'll start with, actually on the body too, let's come in here with a background image that will be a linear gradient. There we go. All right, so we have a very subtle gradient there, just so we can see that that's there as we're working on this, and make sure that I'm coming in with a transparent background on here. And then we'll start with the fancy glow. We're gonna start, I already had the selector there. We're gonna come in with a background image. And for this, once again, we're going to use a gradient, but I'm going to use a conic gradient. My idea, okay, let's see if this works. Let's just do a conic gradient, red, blue, green, yellow, green. We'll just go back around, blue, red, right? Because that should give us, I think that's actually working. We can't really see it though, so we'll give this a aspect ratio of 1. Can I do that? I can, cool. Display of grid. It's a really ugly gradient, but that's okay. Display of grid, place, items, center, just to put the text in the middle. Maybe we'll give this some padding as well. All right, so now we want that to be able to move. And to get that to move, we can't traditionally rotate or animate background images, right? But what we can do, and I'm just wondering if the easiest thing here is we'll do var rotation, I guess, is the easiest thing to have, because that should degrees rotation. Can I do comma 0 degrees? That should fix it. Oh wait, it's a conic gradient, and that means it's not a, it's like we can do like 0.5 from 0.5 turn, I think it is, right? You can see it's like flipped upside down. So here what we could do is from var rotation. So that should fix the syntax mistake I made. Let's just try this. Rotation. Sean, I'm recording a video. I'm not doing a live stream. And let's come up here and just try rotation of 0.5 turn. There we go. Okay. So I guess like we could have put a fallback here too, but it has a value here, so now it's working. And of course I'm using turn here. You could come in with like a 45 degrees or whatever if you want to prefer degrees. I sort of like turn because it's one turn is a full turn, right? Which makes sense. But what we want to do is we actually just want to animate this. But what we cannot do is come in with an at keyframes. I always do at animation, and we can call this just hue rotation to 1 turn, right? And but what are we rotating? Like that's what we want to do, but we want rotation to do it. So the only thing I want to change is my rotation to become 1 turn, and I guess we could be explicit from rotation of 0 turn, and then it would just start rotating. But we can't do that with a custom property, and I'm going to put a fallback here of just 0 turn as the default. So it's there. And like if I tried coming on here and saying animation, let's just say 2 seconds hue rotation. That doesn't work because we can't do that for here unless it's a registered custom property. So to do that, let's see if I can remember how to do this without researching or looking it back up. At property, and we're going to call it hue rotation. And we need to have a syntax. And this is what I'm not actually sure what the syntax is. But this is just, I have some parentheses there, and we're going to come back to that one. We'll have an initial value of 0, turn. And we're going to have an inherits. And you don't have to do this one. I think by default it's true. So you can choose if you actually don't want your custom property to inherit. In this case, it doesn't really matter, but I'll put false. And what I always forget here are the different things we can use for syntax. And I don't think number works. Maybe a degree. Let's try degree. I don't know what the syntax for these are, but we have to look it up. MDM at property. Probably not going to come up. Look up if you need to search this, MDM registered custom property, because that's what we're doing. We're registering a custom property. And then we can get the different syntax values for it. So here, yeah, the syntax is optional. That doesn't help us very much. We have color. I need the full list. CSS supports at property. I'm going down here, and then I think this one. There we go. Length, number, percentage, length, percentage, color, image, integer, angle. That's the one I wanted. Angle. Angle. And if we have the that should all work actually. And then my hue rotation should be working. Forwards. I think I did something wrong here just because I opened up my dev tools to try and find it, and I'm getting a rotation is not defined, which it should be because I'm defining it here. Rotation. There we go. Oh, that's way too fast. Let's do 20 seconds, and we'll just do hue rotation. I don't want forwards though. I just want infinite, right? Infinite for how many times it will go around. So that should work, and it should just keep cycling now forever. Now comes the tricky part. I don't know. So Ana said she did it with a single div. We have that working, but I can't have it as the background on the div because my thinking here is to use a mask. And if I put a mask on here, let's just also a couple really fast things here. HTML, let's just say font size is 2rem, and the font family is system UI, so it looks a little bit nicer. And yeah, we want so that's working, but what we want is to be able to hide a lot of that. But the hard part of hiding it is we need it to see just the background. But if I use a mask, I won't be able to see the text, right? And that's if I put it here. So that's why instead of this, I think what I'm going to do, we're going to take our fancy glow. We're doing fancy CSS. I'm not worried about browser support, and even nesting now is relatively well supported. It is baseline. So we can come and say that we're going to do position is relative. And then all of this will get wrapped in curly braces, so I can do an ampersand after. So it's on the pseudo-element instead. Let's just save to format that. And then if it's on the pseudo-element, we're also going to need to do a position of absolute. Z index maybe, but we're not going to do that yet. Position absolute, inset of 0, so it takes up the full size. And why don't I see anything? Let's go see what I'm doing wrong. We'll grab just the text here, and then we will see inside that div. I do not have a pseudo element right now. Oh, content. For someone who uses pseudo elements for so much stuff, you'd think I would remember that. We see it now. It's in the wrong spot. Okay, we'll do the Z index that I said we'd probably need. Z index of -1 to bring it backwards. If I did that, oh, it's like that. Okay. After, if I do that as a before, I probably still need the Z index because I'm doing a position absolute, right? Yeah, okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter which one I do then. But what's interesting there, oh, okay, so what's happening is some of these things I still want to keep on the element here. So the padding, all of this will actually stay over here. So this is setting up the shape that we're using, and then the background pseudo elements using that space. Before it was just the text that was the space, and because I had the aspect ratio was 1 and all of that, it was painting it, but it was lined up to there. Okay, that makes sense. That's good. And now what I'm not very good at is masks, but we're going to try and do this one. So if we come in with a mask, it should be able to do a... I was going to do a conic gradient, but a conic gradient doesn't make sense here, because it's following that shape. This keeps getting a little bit trickier and trickier. Okay, we can put the border radius on the parent. Again, stick with the things that are easy. Border radius. We'll make it pretty big. 1 rem here will be very big, actually, just because the... and you know what, I am going to put it there, and we'll do an overflow of hidden. I'm not sure if we need it like that, or if I could just do the border radius on the pseudo element. Interestingly enough, that's not working. Take that off and just put this here just to see. Does that... I have a syntax. We'll come back here. I have a syntax error somewhere, so it's not rendering these changes. What is the syntax? I'm looking for a missing semicolon really fast. I don't see it. Miss semicolon, line 53. Oh, I started doing the mask and then I stopped. Okay. So that should give us that border radius. There we go. Okay, that's perfect. So the problem with masking it is the shape. But we're going to try anyway. Let's just do a mask of... No, I had an idea, but it's not going to work. Okay. We'll start with the radial gradient, because that's the easy one for me. And again, easy wins to see if this will even work. Let's just do white comma black, so I can remember which way around we want this mask. None of those are working. Oh, does mask one of those weird ones that still needs to be prefixed? WebKit. It is possible. No. How do you mask something then? I'm sure that I'm doing this right, but MDM mask, and this is like the reality of life, right? A lot of the time people think that I just know everything. I do lots of searching. I know we can use a gradient here though. All of these examples are using URL with SVGs. I guess we could do an SVG, but I don't want to do that. Mask image, maybe I need to use mask image instead? Because there we can do it. Let's just try switching that to a mask image then. Mask image. Inspect. And that's on the pseudo element. I'm going to pull this on screen so you can see it. So one thing to know, first of all, we do need the WebKit on there. It doesn't, Chrome still doesn't recognize the mask image. So my mask image is done correctly, but it's not doing anything. So now I have to figure out why not. Mask image. Do they have an example? No. It says it's baseline though. If it's baseline, shouldn't all browsers... Baseline since 2023. So why do I need the WebKit on here? That's weird. Does it say here? Oh, 1 second. I was wrong. You don't need it. If I turn that off, it will use the WebKit because it's coming second and it recognizes it still, but we don't need it. Okay, so we'll take off that so we don't have to duplicate things. So that's good to know. Now why? Background, mask size, mask repeat, mask image. It has the star and a radial gradient, which is what I want. Maybe, oh, because I have to use transparency. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. And then here, let's just do an HSL of 0, 0, 0 over 0.1, just to see if that works. Okay, so the middle is getting transparentified. Let's do 50% here. And then it should make more transparent. There we go. And this would be a 0. Now the problem that I'm running into right now, This is transparent. Let's go and boost up the coloring here. Let's just make this one a 1, so we should be able to see the gradient coming through a little bit more. There we go. We can see that it's working. We have this transparency coming through, but the shape of it is completely wrong. And this is maybe the hardest part. And this is really where my knowledge of things falls apart on how to do things like this. One thinking is a whole bunch of gradients, because then if we do, let's just see if this works. Because I have linear gradient. I've done things like this a long time ago, but I don't know if this is going to work for the corners, because if it does, let's see. Linear gradient of, so we'll do transparent 10%, comma, black. Doesn't matter what the color is. It's all based on the transparency when we're doing our masks. So that's at the top there. Except we want the other way around. Black, comma, transparent at 10%. There, perfect. Now, what if I do a second one? So we're going to duplicate this. And this one is going to be 90 degrees. Can we overlap mask, or is this... Oh, it worked. Yes. Okay, I didn't think that was going to work. I actually thought it was only going to be the overlapping area. Okay, so that just solved my problem. Cool. So we can just take these. I'm comma separating them. It works just like a background image. And then this one would be 90, 180 degrees. And I guess I could do it the other way, but whatever. 180 degrees. And then this last one is 270 degrees. And I broke something. Let's try 1 second. I want only the bottom. So if I do this one transparent at 90, what would happen? And we'll turn off this one for now. Right. So if I switch 180 degrees and this at 10%, and if this is at 0 degrees, that's not what we had before. Okay, what if I do that and then we duplicate this one at 180? What happens? It just fills in the entire thing. Oh man, I've hit the roadblock on how to combine these. Now I have another idea that I don't really like of using another pseudo-element. So we could do that and then the other side, but I feel like this is just my lack of knowledge coming through on how masks work. I'm doing this one last time just to make sure. Oh, okay. I don't know what oh, I know what I did wrong. You can't have a trailing comma. Oh my goodness. Okay, could we debug that? I'm actually curious. If I put that trailing comma there and it breaks it, and I open my DevTools, does it show me that that was a mistake? Yeah, it does. That's so interesting. Invalid property value. That's one of those hard ones to like, why is it invalid though, right? But okay, we got there. So maybe that's what I just did wrong from before too. So we can duplicate both of these. Copy, paste. So take off the trailing comma, 90 degrees, and 270 degrees. Anyone who knows gradients, who was watching that, or masks, was probably screaming at me as we were going through that. So almost there. The only part, this is, we're pretty much there, but I want to look at Anna's. Her corners look better than mine. Depends what the color is, actually. When it's the yellow, I find you can see like this little line in the corners coming through a little bit. Probably where the masks are overlapping, so the transparency is a little bit different. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that. I'm going to take that as a win. I think that's pulling it off, and I'm happy with that. Let's go see how Anna did it, though. Live demo at CodePen. Oh, no, not at CodePen. This one, the actual link. And let's see. So, yep. Very heavily commented, which is awesome. So it has to be registered. Card, overflow hidden, position, needed for absolute positions, hide the outer part of the glow. I don't think I needed to do that, so now I'm curious how she did it. The width, that's fine. Place self, place content, text align center, a few things there. Okay, position absolute, Z index -1. Oh, the inset's actually a bit bigger. Okay, best if inset is at least half of the border width. Oh, she did it with border image. Look at that. Adjust the gradient as needed. I just used a random palette. Interesting. And then a blur on it. And that blurs why the corners look better than mine. So if we take off, let's just go take a look here. I never think of using border image for anything. And maybe it's something I need to add to my repertoire. So if we take, there's the padding there, color, font, doesn't matter. Text align, what am I looking for again? The overflow of hidden. If we take that off, it ends up with like this whole glowy thing like that. And that's actually like a lot smarter in a way, but I wonder, with what I did here, yeah, you can see my glow's not as much. Can I do a filter blur? I was thinking of doing one at one point, but I was like, it doesn't really serve a purpose, but let's just say 1 rem. Would that do anything? No, okay. Yeah, because I'm using a mask, the mask isn't getting more blurry. That's what I was thinking. So the border image is definitely a better way of doing it, just because then you don't get these weird cross sections like this instead, right? So yeah, conic gradient on there, but it's just on as that. The inset's pulling it out a little bit, so we're getting sort of the middle of like half of the glow is on one side, half of the glow is on the other side. And using the blur, because if we didn't have the blur, it would just be a solid thing that's spinning around instead, right? Let's just see. Yeah, which still looks kind of cool, but obviously a bit different. And the one drawback here, because it's with the border image, is you can't get the round corner on the inside. But if you're blurring it, that really doesn't matter. And it looks pretty cool. Awesome. So yeah, Ana's is a better approach. Happy I tried that. I hope you learned a few things along the way. Definitely come in and heart her code pen. And I hope you learned a couple of things along the way, both through mine and then through this border image version here. Sort of similar approaches, but again, I think Ana's is a bit better there. And just really quickly, I did mention I got this from Ana on Blue Sky. I am over on Blue Sky now. If you haven't made an account over there, the tech people have really, there's been a very large migration. And if you're curious about getting started there, if you find my account, which is linked in the description, I have made a starter pack. They're really awesome. So you can just get like a list of people that are recommended follows for me. Go look at other people. Other people have starter packs too. It can be a really nice way to get started there and know who to follow instead of having to hunt people down and stuff like that. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see other ones where I try and build something for the very first time and sort of go through my problem solving and all of that, there is a playlist of those that is right here for your viewing pleasure. And with that, I would like to thank my enablers of awesome, Andrew, Simon, and Tim, as well as all my patrons and channel members here on YouTube for their monthly support. And of course, until next time, don't forget to make your corner of the internet just a little bit more awesome.